Hello to all of you dear and lovely audience of the Elixir of Awareness channel. Welcome to episode 24. In the previous episode, we talked about the first step of personal development, which was the importance of our attitude toward ourselves. But if you haven't watched the previous episode yet, we suggest that you watch it first. In this episode, we'll talk about the second step of personal development, which is the importance of prioritization. We believe that these talks aren't about life after death. Rather, the real truth is about life before death. We try to understand in this 8-step path how to grow old without fearing life, and also death. Don't forget that even one of the fastest hunters in the world, like an eagle, also can't chase and hunt 2 rabbits at the same time. This is impossible. The eagle must only choose 1 rabbit and focus on it, otherwise it will lose both prey. Think about what's your main goal in life. Some of us spend hours of our time on social networks. And because the volume and variety of information are very high, the quality also decreases. As a result, we follow dozens and hundreds of rabbits at the same time every day, and unfortunately, we don't reach any of them. So if these destructive habits don't help any aspect of your life, please stop them immediately or try to control them so that you've more time for useful things in your life. Don't forget that life is cruelly short. As we said before, we only have 1 chance to live on this planet. And maybe it's too late to do many things right now. Who knows when death will come? The sad fact is that all those who died did not know that they'll leave this world a few minutes or a few seconds later. Never forget this golden sentence in your life. Maybe the real hell is when after you die, you meet the person you could have become while there's no chance to go back and make amends. So let's make the most of this short life opportunity. You may ask now, what's the solution? Don't worry, we'll introduce you to a practical solution for planning. So stay with us until the end. Mr. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States, may never have thought that his simple method of prioritizing activities and time management would become a golden rule. But what method? Surely you also remember the days and weeks when you'd to do several things at the same time in a short period. Even if you refer to your memory well, you probably know those who've advanced their whole life by prioritizing things. And by the way, they're also successful people. But how do you think they can cope with all their duties? Do they stop time or have an extra hand? The good news is that these people have no superhuman powers. They only manage their time and tasks with the help of planning techniques. One of these practical and excellent techniques is the use of the Eisenhower matrix for planning and managing works and time. Most of us think that time management means making the most of all 24 hours of the day. Therefore, we forget to perform important and vital activities such as adequate sleep and proper nutrition. But the point that we shouldn't ignore is that managing activities and having a task prioritization table is an important part of time management. Mr. Eisenhower says, "I have 2 kinds of problems, the urgent and the important. The urgenties aren't important, and the importants are never urgent." These wise words of Eisenhower, which were later repeated also in the book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is also known as Stephen Covey's Law. It has a simple point in its heart: prioritizing tasks based on urgency and importance. In the following, we'll explain to you how to categorize tasks based on urgency and importance. The first category is urgent and important works. But what were the urgent and important tasks? The tasks that even if you've a glass of water in your hand, you've to put it down to do them. Of course, note that these tasks were once in the category of important and non-urgent tasks. But due to not managing time and energy, or incorrect planning and sometimes unforeseen circumstances, they were postponed and entered into this category. The important thing is that the better you plan and prioritize the works, the number of tasks in this category will be reduced. The second category is important but non-urgent tasks. I've been exercising since I was a child. This is a sentence that you've probably heard thousands of times from a professional athlete. The fact is that investing time and devoting optimal energy to doing important and non-urgent tasks is the golden key to successful people. They know that if they go to strengthen a certain skill or learn a new technique today, they'll reach their goals faster in the future. So, in prioritizing tasks based on the Eisenhower matrix, it's good to spend most of your time and energy on important and non-urgent tasks after doing important and urgent tasks to achieve better results in the future. The third category is unimportant and urgent tasks. Activities that may not be important to you or don't bring you much closer to your goals, but you need to do them very urgently. It's better to plan these activities in such a way that you can achieve the desired result in the shortest possible time and by spending the least amount of energy. Sometimes these things happen suddenly. For example, if the pipes in your house need fixing, you can assign it to someone else and do your more important personal work. Leaving these tasks to others will give you more time to focus on your more important tasks. And the last category is unimportant and non-urgent tasks. Things that eat up all our time and energy like a hungry giant, following different pages on social networks and various news that don't affect improving our living conditions and such things. There are various examples of non-important and non-urgent activities. It's clear that to use time optimally based on the Eisenhower matrix program, you should draw a red line around these activities and instead spend your time and energy doing other more important things. Of course, if your main job or activity is related to virtual space and social networks, and you use the internet to get useful and practical information, there's nothing wrong with it. Because as we said before, everything depends on how we use it. Social networks have many benefits, but just we don't have to live inside them every day, because real life is somewhere out of them. In the following and the final section, we'll tell you some golden tips about using this technique. Some Eisenhower matrix techniques and works prioritization that you should know are like this. First, before drawing the Eisenhower matrix, it's good to set your goals and priorities based on your values and desires. Second, before taking any step, ask yourself why you're doing this particular thing. Third, when you know the reason for doing things, you will definitely go to them more easily and with more motivation. Fourth, don't write more than a few tasks in each category, because many tasks only make you anxious, so you can't focus on all activities. And the final point is to leave a blank space in each section for unanticipated or backlog activities so that too much work doesn't increase your anxiety. Well, we've reached the end of this episode. In the next episode, we'll talk about the third step of personal development. But the final question of this episode is, do you plan your works? What's your experience with this? Please share your comments with us. Don't forget that there are still 6 more steps left. We appreciate you so much for accompanying us until the end of this episode.